forte. I will be honest. I have been worried about this speech ever since I got elected 2 years ago. In fact, I had a carefully crafted email filled with many bullet points to read to you in lieu of giving this speech. But then Joe reminded me that we only have the room for 2 hours. No, really, you've seen my emails. Before I begin, there are a few individuals that I would like to thank for making my presidency possible. First, I learned from great leaders. I've been privileged to work under Karen Wilbanks, Robert Shepard, Sean Mena, and Heath Martin. Though each were very different, they taught me something about what it means to be a leader. From Karen, I learned that a leader must be compassionate and empathetic. From Shep, I learned that you have to have a vision for the organization and pursue it with passion every day. From Sean, I learned that leaders must sometimes be silent so that they can listen to the will of the people. And from Heath, I learned that leaders must persevere, even when the situation seems daunting. Most recently, I've had the privilege of serving as vice president to one of my very best friends. I consider Joe Leader to be a mentor, a phenomenal leader, and most of all, a dear friend. From Joe, I learned that leaders must be true to themselves and stay the course of positivity, that the best leaders always look to what can be and not necessarily what is. To say that I had big shoes to fill was an understatement. I've also had the pleasure of working closely with the EC and some of the hardest working people I've ever met. People who make me strive daily to be a better leader, a better coach, and a better advocate. This EC is filled with individuals who sacrifice their time to make the organization better and keep it running for everyone. There's so much work that happens behind the scenes, and trust me, you are the first people to know if something has gone wrong. It's one of those jobs that you don't realize how hard it is until you actually do it. They are passionate advocates, fierce debaters, compassionate friends, and dedicated coaches, and I am grateful for the opportunity to lead alongside them. I think they deserve a round of applause. This year, we're also fortunate enough to have a TSCA board member on our EC. I know that Melissa Denny has worked tirelessly many hours to put this program together to make sure that we have the audiovisual needs that each of the programs have. Those are met, to make sure that rooms are right for the type of presentation that's happening there, to make sure that speakers and interest group chairs are being responsible and turning their stuff in. So, and also has arranged for this really fantastic venue. I know that I enjoyed the spa treatment that I received when I was in the restroom, the nice salt scrub. If you have not been, you should go. So I would like to give Melissa Denny a round, oh, she's over here now, a round of applause. I also want to thank my co-coach, Samin Aga. As the workload for my TFA responsibilities increased, Samin has stepped up and taken a huge load off my plate in terms of team and classroom responsibilities. He also serves as my email screener. You should see how long the emails are before you get them. Without him, there are surely days that I would have cracked under pressure, and I owe a great deal of gratitude for all that he's done to help me be successful at this gig. I honestly believe that the ability to do this job is largely dependent on having a strong support system in place, and I'm fortunate enough that I have one, both at work and at home. Though they're not here tonight, my girls and my husband have been all-stars throughout my time on the EC. For those of you who know me, you know that they are my world, and without their support and understanding, I never would have been able to do this job. The last 2 years have been the most challenging of my life, both in and out of this activity. I have learned, some days by choice and some by force, a lot of lessons about people, about myself, and about life. I learned that being a president and a vice president requires skills that I didn't know that I had nor thought I would have to use. Party planner, travel agent, master scheduler, ballot scanner, tech support, Jedi master for email response, and a skin thick enough to make even the toughest rhino jealous. Through it all, I only further confirmed that this activity is my passion. I always knew how transformative it was for my students, but it wasn't until this past year that I realized how much it had transformed me. The theme for this year's convention is responsibility. I don't have to tell you that in this activity, we are required to have a great deal of responsibility. We wear a lot of hats. Many of us are coaches, bookkeepers, fundraisers, mentors, counselors, and even surrogate parents to some of our kids. It's no doubt that each of you is dedicated and passionate about coaching and speech. Trust me, I have seen your stipends, and I know that is not the reason you're here. A great man once asked me the question, is TFA about education or qualifying for a state meet? At the time, if you would have looked at our website, you would have seen evidence only to the latter. We were very good at running an awesome state meet and handling the logistics involved in qualifying students for that meet. But our students need more. Our coaches need more. Our responsibility is more. It is time as an organization that we start being more. Our students need us to be active advocates for the importance of communication in the high school curriculum. They need us to be models of activism. They need to be able to look to our organization as not just voices who educate them about the problems of the world they face, but as proactive problem solvers who actively tackle these problems through advocacy and action. Our members need more. They need us to be tech savvy and for our organization to be a forward-thinking, technologically capable body with a clear vision for the future. They need quick response times and systems that integrate technology and facilitate the sharing and dissemination of information. They need more state-level advocacy. They need curricular guidance and teaching resources. We have already started to make great strides in the effort to moving TFA into the 21st century. Over the past 2 years, this EC has made some pretty dramatic changes. We have started selling merchandise and branding ourselves. We have transitioned to scan debate ballots at the state tournament. We have increased our online presence via social media and reformatted our Constitution so that it's searchable, organized, and consistent. We have increased the information given about judges at the state meet via new Judge Paradigm books. We are currently working on creating a video documentary of the organization produced by member Tim Cook. We have started to compile a working curriculum for professional communication so teachers who are new to the activity have a completely bundled, ready-to-deploy curriculum set. We are sponsoring Thank You for Judging screenings that will promote our activity outside of what we do. We have brought in special guest lecturers at convention to better meet the needs of our members. We have become an organization that serves. This year, we've chosen child poverty as our statewide area focus, which we are kicking off here at convention and will continue at TFA State. We have done a lot to make TFA as an organization mirror the fantastic programs and coaches that we represent. But despite all of our hard work, our teachers also suffered a terrible blow this year. We lost the state requirement for communications. There is a lot of work that needs to be done to rectify this. Change is hard. But if we are responsible communicators, then we look toward the future and realize that we will need to adjust to the ever-changing nature of our students and the world they encounter when they leave us. It is our responsibility not only to our current students, but also those we will have in the future. Will our programs be able to exist in 20 years? What are we doing today to ensure that existence? Is our activity viable? Is it growing in a way that will sustain itself? Are we recruiting and keeping young new talent into our field? Does the organization do more than qualify kids to a state meet? These are the questions that should drive your decision-making tonight. Just as it is the responsibility of the current generation not to drain Earth of resources, leaving nothing for the future, it is also our responsibility to make sure that the resources we leave behind for future coaches are plentiful enough to sustain the activity long after we leave. There are many amendments that we will debate tonight. Some will garner great debates and others won't. Some will pass and others won't. We are sure to disagree on things. That is the beauty of this organization. As you consider the items up for discussion, I encourage you to think with an open mind and listen with a heart that is compassionate and empathetic, a mind that embraces the future and what we can do to sustain our organization, and a heart that realizes that those who oppose you are just doing the same. Our field has the capability to change lives, to transform shy, quiet introverts into eloquent speakers, to take argumentative, angsty teens and give them the power of evidence and logic, to take students who live a hellish existence daily, but are allowed to transform themselves every day into characters who don't face their struggles, to take students who fail every other class, but finally find a place where they can be heard and have a voice, and even to take a girl who was terrified to give this speech into one who has almost reached the end. The work we do is phenomenal, but that does not mean that it is safe. The onus is on each of us to make sure that this thing that we love so much, this thing that does so much to change the lives of children, continues. Change is hard. Each of the changes I discussed above was hard when it happened. People were scared because it wasn't what had always been done. But looking back, we realized those changes were not only necessary, but they're actually good. As the Greek philosopher Heraclitus stated, the only constant is change. The only way our organization will continue to grow is if we adapt to maintain relevance in the ever-changing world. If we continue to look for ways as an organization to show the value of the skills we teach to people outside of the organization, to show our legislators, councilmen and women, mayors, superintendents, and school boards that what we do matters. We know the value of well-educated, articulate, knowledgeable young people. We just need to do a better job of showing everyone else. It's time for us to take bold steps to move our organization forward. Let's do that tonight. That was easy.